We're going beyond the podium with State Senator Steve McClure. Senator McClure, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I want to start really quickly with why we bring you in here. Why are Republicans, state Republicans, asking U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi for more clarity with this issue as far as trans athletes in sports here in Illinois?
Because as the Republican caucus, we reached out to the IHSA and we said that with the executive order that President Trump signed, how are you going to respond to that? Are you going to ensure that it's boys only competing in boys sports and girls are only competing in girls sports? And their response was essentially, we don't have clarity on the issue, and they didn't take a position. And that was troubling to the caucus, that was troubling to me, and so I reached out to them for more clarification. Yet again, we didn't get any, and therefore we then decided to send a letter to the Attorney General of the United States and try to get on top of this issue.
Have you heard anything back from the Attorney General yet?
We have not yet, no.
No. Can I ask, as far as your opinions and your thoughts go, the IHSA is basically saying we are going to leave this up to the different school districts and say on each case-by-case basis. Do you recommend to the districts in your district to do, yes or no, follow the executive order or follow what the state law says?
I would encourage them to follow the executive order. Because either we have co-ed sports, where boys and girls are both participating in all these sports, or we don't. And right now we don't, and yet they're allowing some students who are biological males to participate in girls. And there's a serious issue with fairness, and why should a few boys get to compete in girls sports? Either they're all co-ed or they're not.
Now, what actually has prevalence, an executive order or the state law? Is there clarity or is there real confusion?
Well, the federal government always is the top entity when it comes to the law. However, whether an executive order or a state law is what rules is up to the courts to figure out.
Yeah. In the state law, where they're finding protection for these trans athletes is through anti-discrimination laws. Is the law clear as far as the Illinois state law about what they're trying to protect with these trans athletes?
No, the problem is that all these laws are murky and the courts are making all kinds of rulings, and this is not just happening in this state, but it's across the country. And so we really do need the federal government to step up and to bring clarification in these states that are not complying with the federal executive order. So it is murky in the sense that some of these places don't know who to turn to, feds or the state, and but I would say that they should take their directive from the federal government.
Why is this such an important issue, especially for residents here in Central Illinois?
It's an important issue because, first of all, kids only have a few years at high school, and so high school sports are really important to people, and they really help to develop leadership skills that people utilize later in life. And so if you've got some high school athletes that are at an unfair disadvantage, it's not right, and they've got to live with that for the rest of their lives. And so we've seen that people, at least in my district, are very, very upset when you've got boys that place high in state over girls, things like that. And it's an 80-20 issue. I mean, 80% of the public does not want boys to compete in girls' sports. And so you can't revisit these things. You can't ever undo them. Once they've been done, they're done. And my goal here is to protect girls and protect their sports in high school, because they won't have the chance to play these sports again once they graduate.
Now, the IHSA has said we're not a federally funded organization and we are kind of independent. So the threats from the White House saying, hey, if you're not following these executive orders, we've seen it in Maine, we are going to cause some disruptions to your federal funding. What are the actual ramifications if the White House determines, hey, they're not following the EO in Illinois? What could happen here to schools in Illinois?
Well, the IHSA also pointed out that they don't receive state funding. So if they're saying they want to comply with what Governor Pritzker wants, which is very different from what mainstream 80% of the public wants, then why are they complying with him if they're not getting state funding and not complying with the federal directive? So I would just say that IHSA needs to do the right thing. And if they're an independent, not not-for-profit group, which they said in the letter that they are, then be that way and make the right decision. And the right decision here, according to 80% of the public, is to ensure that biological males participate only in biological male sports, and the same is true with girls.
Do you see a resolution on the horizon for this issue here in Illinois?
Well, we're hopeful that the Attorney General will get back to us and sort of lead the charge here to figure this out, because IHSA is not going to do it on their own, apparently.
No. Senator McClure, we appreciate the time this morning. Thank you so much for going beyond the podium with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch more videos from News Channel 20.